Most of us are continually passing along tips to our friends, money-saving tips, storage tips, perhaps cooking tips. You name a topic, someone has a tip to share. Since I consider you my sewing friends, I can't help but pass along tips. In this series, our top 12 embroidery tips. Kate Brzezinski, one of our top embroidery tipsters, is here during the second program to share the remainder of our top 12 embroidery tips. Kate, some of our tips are easy, some take a little bit more thought, but they're all useful.
They are, Nancy, and our goal in this two-part series was to share tips that we use in the Sewing with Nancy production room. And I've been embroidering for about 12 years, every day during the workday. And these are tips, many of them that I use every day.
The top 12 embroidery tips, that's what's coming up next on Sewing with Nancy.
Sewing with Nancy, TV's longest-airing sewing and quilting program with Nancy Zieman, is made possible by Baby Lock, a complete line of sewing, quilting, and embroidery machines and sergers. Baby Lock, for the love of sewing. Madeira, specializing in embroidery, quilting, and special effect threads, because creativity is never black and white. Koala Sewing Cabinets, hand-built in the USA by American craftsmen, customized for you. Clover, makers of sewing, knitting, quilting, and embroidery products for over 25 years. Experience the Clover difference. Amazing Designs and Class A needles.
This being the second program of our top 12 embroidery tips, we're starting with tip number 7. It's called Hide and Go Embroidery. Use a cover-up to hide the color of the background fabric. With a computerized embroidery, if you're stitching on a dark fabric or if you're overstitching designs, you may find that the fabric underneath may somewhat come through. On this shirt, we did not use the cover-up or the stitchable plastic, but on this particular piece, on the little chicks, we placed the hiding fabric to make those chicks just a little bit more vibrant. And Kate's going to show you exactly how this is accomplished. But for those of you who perhaps didn't tune into our first program in this series, and maybe you aren't familiar with the computerized embroidery unit that comes with some machines, you're going to be attaching the unit, the computer portion of the embroidery unit attaches to your machine, then you can turn on your machine, and you'll be selecting designs from ordering them online or purchasing CDs that have a variety of designs in them, placing the CD into your computer, selecting whichever design or designs you'd like, placing them on a memory stick, attaching the memory stick to your machine, and then selecting your design. And here you can see on my LCD screen that I have the grasses with the little eggs selected. Your fabric is placed in a hoop that comes with the machine, and you can hoop the fabric between the layers of the hoop, or as I have done here, chosen a stabilizer and attached the fabric to a sticky stabilizer. And then this unit is attached to your machine. You select the color that you'd like. To start with, use an embroidery needle and decorative rayon thread, and you start to embroider. This is about as fast as you can explain computerized embroidery. But Kate, we're going to be showing this frequently today, and then show us how to prevent some of the designs from showing through, or the background fabric showing through.
Certainly, especially on darker colored fabrics, that is, happens a lot. And these are very soft yellow chicks. So what we've done is we've selected from a set or package of permanent toppings. They're called toppings because they go on top of the fabric. And there's a really pretty bright yellow, but we've actually selected a beige, a pale beige color, because it's a closer match to the pale yellow chicks. I know the next chick is going to stitch in this area, so I've placed an open or unused area of the topping where the chick should stitch. And you can use a little bit of temporary spray adhesive to hold the topping in place, or just hold it in place with your fingers out of the way and allow the machine to start stitching.
With computerized embroidery, it really is the placement and the preparation, the embroidery. You can walk away and let this stitch.
Right. It is possible to walk away, although I wouldn't normally
Okay.
recommend it, just to be on the safe side. Sometimes you might actually have a needle break. That does happen, or a thread may just come unthreaded. So keep your machine within earshot at least.
Right. So as this is stitching over, it is just allowing the thread color to be predominant rather than the denim underneath be predominant. And you can see Kate's little highlights of the other chicks that she's just popped out, or the needle perforates the covering fabric so that you can just tear it away.
It will tear away very easily, yes.
As she continues to stitch, I would just like to show you another option where you'd like to use it. On this really delightful little caricature of the little bear on top of the larger bear area, Kate placed the fabric cover-up underneath the stitching so that the green grass from the first stitch design would not show through on the animal design. So after you have done the stitching, and Kate, maybe you want to show just a little bit how that pops out.
We'll just stop it real quickly and gently ease the topping away. It does tear away
And
easily.
take a little bit more time, but you can see that you can hide and go embroider very easily. Tip 8 is spray to stabilize. You'll be surprised to learn how a common household product can aid in embroidery. Stabilizing is really the key for embroidery, and you'll find stabilizers on a roll, cutaways, tearaways, washaways. Oh, there are various shades of white in stabilizers, but sometimes the fabric needs a little additional support, and that's where a common household product comes into play.
That's right. There are sizings, there are laundry starches, spray starches, lightweight, heavyweight, variety of different types. This particular one kind of sprays on, and you may iron it. I'm making a little bit of a mess here. Sorry, Nancy.
That's fine.
You may iron it right away. You don't need to let it dry. It might sizzle a little bit. And if I were doing this at home, I'd have a more even coating, but this will give our viewers an idea.
And it really adds crispness, just like you would press a shirt at home. And
Right. It adds a nice crisp addition, but not too heavy. And you're showing a product that's a much heavier weight.
There are spray-on stabilizers that you saturate this, and we have it on the wrong side of a cutting board because you would saturate this and let it dry overnight.
Right.
So you'd have to plan ahead a little bit.
You do.
And this is shown here how crisp it is. And then you can apply this to a sticky back stabilizer, which we have here, and then do the embroidery. It adds weight and it adds stability. If you're ever in a bind as to where to place a design, tip number 9, entitled No Gridlock Embroidery, will come to your rescue. You can see that to embroider, it's not a lot of work. It's fun, but the placement and getting it positioned where you need to take a little time in advance. We have kind of the ultimate embroidered table runner with chives, oregano, all the wonderful herbs, spices, and their names. To achieve a line-up of the design, since these are separate designs, Kate has an idea of working with a grid system to prevent you from having things out of alignment.
And it would be noticeable on a project like this. Right here, Nancy, I'm working on a smaller version. It's a placemat. I already have the blue fabric marking pen drawn on as a guideline, and I've already embroidered the corners. Those are the most critical, so those are
Right.
embroidered first. I then have pressed a center, just finger pressed a center mark on my placemat and positioned it on the water activated stabilizer, and we'll quickly get this re-adhered.
So you hoop the stabilizer, place the fabric on top of the hoop. That prevents some hoop burn.
It does, it does. And sometimes, as you can see, this edge wouldn't even be caught in the hoop. Now I'm using the grid template that comes with the hoop, and it's gridded. This happens to be a centimeter grid. It correlates to the grid that's on the LCD screen. And we have already placed a word, selected the word we'd like, it's oregano, but I'm going to use the grid in the hoop and the grid on the screen in conjunction. The grid in the hoop is telling me that I need to move the oregano word over 4 grids. So it's a simple matter of counting how many grids you have to fill. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm ready to attach my hoop to the embroidery unit.
And in some designs, you may have to move your design up and down. Kate, you just happen to
Right.
have it aligned perfectly.
Right, because I had measured it ahead of time and found center. We'll now lower the presser foot and begin stitching.
So with the use of the grid on the plastic template grid and counting the grid system on your LCD screen, you can get everything aligned perfectly. It's really amazing. So as the machine is just stitching out the word oregano, we're going to take a little time lapse and come back once the design is almost at its completion. And now you can see that the design is almost complete as we let it stitch.
We're really close. And so I will just take this out of the hoop so that our viewers can see it, and a very easy way to produce gridlock results.
Tip number 10 is affectionately known as ghost templates. The hollowed out or ghost-like image on the stabilizer provides a very useful template. You can see through this series that embroidery is simple. It's getting it in the right spot that always takes some time. And Kate, the beautiful blouse that you embroidered with 3 different big embroideries, the embroideries touch.
They ended up perfect because we used the ghost template method or tip.
There's
And
that
we
big
have-
embroidery.
It is a large embroidery, but it's just perfect for this particular blouse, going along just one edge of the pleating along the neck, and we have actually just a portion of the last embroidery design
But
on
to
the
get
shoulder.
those tip to tips of the embroidery couldn't be done without some planning.
Right. I actually did some pre-planning on the actual pattern piece. This is a tracing so that our viewers could see it a little better. And I've traced out just the edge, the most important edge, along the neckline, along the center. And then I've actually traced all the way
The
up the
second
neck,
one,
and then the third one. But sometimes in embroidery, things don't work perfectly the way you plan them
Really?
out. It does happen. So this is a no-fool way to have it look absolutely flawless. We've embroidered the first design along the shirt. But when I compared it to my little template pattern, it was a little off. So what we're going to do is actually trace around the outside
which I have done.
of the hoop area and marked the center marks.
And then remove the fabric from the template.
Right. Very gently, because you want to preserve as much
Of the ghost.
of the ghost as possible. And we do have a sample right over here to show you.
That Kate removed this carefully and then cut along the edges.
Right,
The
and I
inner
just have the
edges of the
corner.
hoop.
We'll just trim the inner corner here, and then we're going to place this template on top of the fabric where we want the next design to land. And I will pin this in place, and I would maybe add an extra pin or two,
I think we're pinned to the
this-
table, so I'm going
Oh,
to pin it
okay.
one more time.
and make sure that our tip is exactly where we want it. That will show.
So there's that ghost template. Now here's our hoop stabilizer, and we have the sticky back stabilizer. We remove that area.
I align.
Here's the key part.
template.
Get it aligned just the way you'd like it.
And we're on a slant, so we can't actually see very well. But once this goes in the hoop, it will stitch exactly where we've placed it.
Because the design is centered in the hoop, and now you'll have it in the right spot. Remove the ghost template, take it to your machine, and do the embroidery. Add sprinkles for sparkle is tip number 11. Use fusible beads or crystals to enhance and unify embroidery designs. On Sewing with Nancy in the past, we've demonstrated just how to fuse on or sew on sprinkles, sparkles, beads, whatever you'd like, but they're a great way of unifying designs.
Right, and this purse right here is a good example of very few crystals are added on, just a little bit in the swirls, just to add a very subtle touch.
You embroidered down the placket of this shirt a scroll design, but then the fusible beads really unified the whole topic.
Right, it gives a lot more sparkle, and at Halloween or Thanksgiving time, it's appropriate to sparkle.
Now, if you really enjoy embroidering, as Kate does, then you can go over the top.
Right, and here we've included or used the fusible crystals as part of the fabric that we've embroidered, really.
And it helped if you made these, if these spaces were left embellished or embroidered, it certainly would not be as unified.
Right, so it was a perfect spot to add that many crystals.
You can see we have all denim. You could certainly use other fabrics in this combination of embroidery, but I like the beads that have been added.
These give a very soft, elegant, subtle glimmer, not the very shiny crystal.
We have dragonflies, and without the sewn-on beads, if you kind of make believe they were gone, they would just be plopped down the front of this shirt or wherever you would like to place them.
Right, this helps add a little bit of a story to your embroidery.
Great story, great flow, and giving the designs some other versatility. So our tip number 11, add a little sparkle with the use of beads or crystals, can easily be done after the fact. You can add as many or as few as you'd like. Our final tip, number 12, melt away embroideries. Use a stencil cutter after embroidering to create dimensional embroideries. We have a very unique embroidery project, not on a garment, not on home deck, but a separate dimensional garland.
Of freestanding embroidery, actually.
And here's this garland on a Christmas tree, and you can see that it's very delightful, and it may look like a big project, but
it really is very easy.
The first step, you'll have to work with a stabilizer and to see if it melts. How about that for a unique idea?
That's the test. We've had the stencil cutter heating, and see how easily that slides right through. This will work perfectly. An organza that's man-made, nylon, polyester, those will melt as well, and those can make beautiful ornaments or lace insets.
So it's the stencil cutter, and then you have a good time embroidering.
Right. This is a lot of embroidery, but you can do other things while the machine is stitching.
Yes.
We've actually embroidered a hoop full of little candies in their original orientation, but we've also done a mirror image of each of those. Right.
It was a little hard to see, but the tails of the embroidery aren't symmetrical.
Right, right. So now, once we have all the embroidered candies, we use the stencil cutter and just
melt it
away, and a little patience. This is probably a good thing while you're listening to a really favorite radio show or watch a great movie. Well, maybe not watch a movie.
Listen to a movie, right?
Right, right. So you get the idea. You're melting away the embroidery, and it gives a very clean edge.
It's surprising how well that works. And then we can use, if you were not making garland, that would be your embroidery. It would be dimensional, but to make this garland, Kate has strung some beads on thread, a heavy-duty thread, a lot of beads, but then separated them.
Right, and you can separate them arbitrarily as you're going along. And this is a great project for two people, we just found out. Nancy is applying glue, and fill it up.
Okay.
But don't get it on your fingers, otherwise we'll be sticking to everything.
Okay.
I lay this thread right across, and then the companion or mirror image of the candy is pressed into place.
And then Kate would just advance along, adding additional candies, as you can see, and allowing the glue to dry. So our step 12, melt away embroideries, is a rather fun technique. Last time on Nancy's Corner, you met my guest, Leslie Travis, a librarian in Chicago for pre-K through 6th grade who incorporates sewing, or has incorporated sewing, into the curriculum for the last 19 years. Leslie, you're back again to share with us the new phase.
We got a grant at our school, an A+ for Energy grant, to talk about the science of energy conservation that we can achieve through sewing, which was very, very exciting for our students. They decided that they knew how to sew now, and they wanted to open a mending center at our school. So the students wrote a letter to the student council asking for permission to do that.
Oh, this little letter is really sweet. Nice printing, nice penmanship, asking permission. I'm certain they got.
Oh, yeah, the student council granted our mending club permission to have a mending center at our school. The students set it up and put up signs around the building asking teachers, parents, students to bring in jeans, chairs, pillows, puppets, anything that was sewn so that it could get fixed.
And because you have this energy grant, you incorporated energy savings. And I have to read the bottom of this ad. It's so cute. Fixing one pair of pants saves the same amount of energy as walking 300 miles.
You know, students really would like to do things to help both other people and the economy and the environment, and we found that using the Mending Center really empowers children. It gives them a chance to actually do something constructive to save the world, and it tells them why repairing something makes sense instead of just throwing it out.
So this little picture of this boy holding a pair of jeans, with sweet little expression in jeans, they bring it in, you record the fiber content.
And where the items were made. These jeans have traveled all over the world, which is, and our Mending Center people are ecstatic because they have saved energy. Our little boy is ecstatic because he has his favorite pair of jeans back. And they're all happy because they've helped save energy. And they can tell people that they have helped do something about global warming. It works on many levels.
And you also mentioned in your school, which is a rainbow coalition of backgrounds and cultures.
And learning styles. We
Certainly.
have special ed students, we have abnormally intelligent students, we have just a wonderful way of approaching learning, and the Mending Club gives students with all sorts of diverse learning styles, different ways to learn and different ways to share what they've learned with other people. I work with another teacher who's a special ed teacher. She brings her skills in teaching multidisciplinary learning styles and learning approaches to our Mending Club, and it gives some of these students a chance to help other people that they would never have in any other way. And you can see from the expression on their faces that they're enjoying
Well, these
it.
little girls mended a ski jacket. I mean,
this was more than a mending project. This was a saving the life both of the jacket and the child. This jacket had a zipper which had totally come out in the wash, and the little girl brought it to school so that we could fix it. And we did.
And you also mentioned that it has given a purpose to wearing recycled, mended clothes. It's really saving the environment, not necessarily saying that you're wearing something mended.
Right. We have a number of families at our school that are financially stressed right now, and we're trying to change social consciousness from being a throwaway economy where you need a new shirt. every single day of the week, or you need a new pair of shoes every
Yes.
week, to being able to say it's socially acceptable and good for the world to wear something that we've bothered to repair.
Leslie, what a great story of incorporating sewing into the curriculum. It's invigorating for me. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And I hope that you have appreciated this. You can go to sewingwithnancy.com, click on Nancy's Corner, and find out more about Leslie's story. Thanks for joining me. Bye for now.
Nancy and Kate Bashinsky have written a fully illustrated book entitled Top 12 Embroidery Tips, which includes all the information from this two-part series. It's $14.99 plus shipping and handling. To order the book, call 800-336-8373 or visit our website at sewingwithnancy.com/2310. Order item number BK2310, Top 12 Embroidery Tips. Credit card orders only. To pay by check or money order, call the number on the screen for details. Visit Nancy's website at sewingwithnancy.com for more information on this program. Sewing with Nancy, TV's longest airing sewing and quilting program with Nancy Zieman, is made possible by Baby Lock, Madeira Threads, Koala Cabinets, Clover, Amazing Designs, and Class A Needles. Closed captioning funding provided by Rowenta. Sewing with Nancy is a co-production of Nancy Zieman Productions and Wisconsin Public Television.